Jewels have fascinated people for centuries as symbols of luxury, grace, and wonder, whether it's the brilliant colors of emeralds or sapphires. But what if the worth of these precious stones went beyond money and held the key to understanding God's very existence? Sounds unbelievable, right? However, there is an interesting connection between this claim and the 12 stones mentioned in Revelation 21:19. Could their breathtaking beauty and intricate design be the work of a master designer rather than formed through geological processes? New Jerusalem, which is a city constructed on the foundations of 12 brilliant gemstones, stones that are now valued as jewelry, is described in Revelation 21. Additionally, Exodus 28 contains detailed directions for making the breastplate of the high priest, which is decorated with the same jewels. Each gemstone that the Bible mentions in detail represents a divine design, a piece of art that is far beyond human understanding. The interesting part is that science has only now begun to understand what was written thousands of years ago. We figured out how to make something revolutionary in this generation alone: pure, focused light. Similar to lasers, this kind of light travels in a single, concentrated beam, as opposed to the widely dispersed light we are used to. However, the remarkable thing is how these stones, which were described thousands of years ago, match up with what modern science has only just started to learn about gemstone structure, color, and light. How else could the writers from thousands of years ago have captured facts that are so in line with our modern knowledge of gemstones and light? This discovery may serve as a link between religion and science, providing insight into the divine plan behind everything. As you all know, we didn't fully understand light for the majority of history. Waves of light collide, scatter, and reflect in all directions around us. For example, even a spotlight doesn't just shine straight ahead. It bounces light off objects and softly illuminates everything in its path. However, modern science has discovered a way to produce something revolutionary: pure, focused light. The most well-known example is laser light, straight as an arrow, concentrated, and razor-sharp. This idea is then further developed using cross-polarized light. Consider a single polarized filter that allows light to flow in only one direction. Next, position a second filter perpendicular to the first one. The outcome? An extremely tuned light beam that only lets through the most focused, straightest rays. Recently, researchers have studied jewels and gemstones using this pure light. To reveal their secrets, they sliced thin pieces of gemstones and sent cross-polarized light through them. They discovered something astounding. Gemstones respond to this light in one of two entirely different ways. Some jewels change into stunning displays of every color in the rainbow, producing complex and captivating patterns, regardless of whether they were originally red, blue, or green. We refer to these as anisotropic jewels, but for some, all their beauty is lost. They lose their color and become black, resembling nothing more than coal lumps. These jewels are isotropic. The amazing thing is that prior to this generation, this property, anisotropic versus isotropic, was entirely unknown. However, the Bible told of a city made completely of jewels that would come to life in pure light thousands of years ago. How could anyone have been aware of this at the time? Or was it all the work of the one who made light itself? In pure light, diamonds, those dazzling representations of beauty and wealth, are nothing. Yes, you heard that right. Under pure light, diamonds lose all of their radiance and become lifeless, dull masses of coal dust. It's not just diamonds either. The same is true for rubies and garnets, which become equally lifeless. Scientists refer to these stones as isotropic, since they are unable to convert light into anything special. Other stones, known as anisotropic stones, respond very differently. They explode with color when pure light flows through them, and their beauty is enhanced in ways that appear almost miraculous. The Bible mentions 12 precious stones that were used to construct the New Jerusalem's foundations, and they are all anisotropic in every way. Yes, they all react to pure light, by displaying unparalleled brilliance and breathtaking patterns. What's even more amazing is this detail. God is characterized as light. Imagine New Jerusalem as a site of infinite beauty, with God's light shining through these anisotropic jewels. God doesn't construct the city with garnets, rubies, or diamonds. No matter how valuable they are on earth, these isotropic stones are excluded. Rather, he selects stones that intensify light and become more exquisite when they are near him. Isotropic stones that became black lumps were useless to him. Rather, he only chose those that radiate beauty when exposed to pure light. Do you want proof? The New Jerusalem's foundation is made up of the top 12 stones, which shine in an unfathomable splendor. How could anyone have known this 2,000 years ago, you ask? No philosopher, scientist, or anyone else has the skills or resources to discover this characteristic of gemstones. Still, it was recorded in the Bible when the world was still catching up. Isn't that amazing? The book of Revelation was carefully written by John the Apostle while he was on the island of Patmos, following the Lord's instructions. He was unable to fully understand the gravity of what he was documenting. To analyze these stones, John the Apostle most definitely lacked a laboratory equipped with cross-polarized light. Nobody did, with the exception of God, the Creator, who is the only entity in the universe. Where was this remarkable jewel-related passage written? You only need to look at Revelation 21, which is located about the middle of the chapter. A list of 12 valuable stones that serve as the cornerstones of the New Jerusalem may be found starting in verse 19. In Revelation 21, he was merely documenting the vision that God had given him. The list of the 12 fundamental gemstones can be found in Revelation 21:19-21. The foundations of the city walls were decorated with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third agate, the fourth emerald, the fifth onyx, the sixth ruby, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th turquoise, the 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst. 21. The 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of a single pearl. The great street of the city was of gold, as pure as transparent glass. Do you see what's missing? Not a single diamond, ruby, or garnet. Why? Since these stones are isotropic, they don't magnify light. Let us be honest, diamonds and rubies would probably be at the top of most people's lists. After all, we view diamonds as representations of beauty and love, and we decorate engagement rings with them. However, the creator of everything, God, was wiser. Long before people ever found these gemstones, he had already made them and recognized their characteristics. The New Jerusalem, which is referred to as the ultimate kingdom of light, is made completely of anisotropic stones, which are jewels that intensify and magnify light. It seems as though God created the city to be the most remarkable manifestation of his heavenly presence. Isn't it amazing that this minute fact, which science had been unaware of for hundreds of years, was mentioned in the Bible all along? This alone demonstrates the supernatural inspiration of the Bible, as no one could have known this. Until our generation, these discoveries were unknown. Consider how magnificent New Jerusalem will be. No need for elaborate decorations, murals, or fancy ornamentation. God's materials will be far superior to anything we could possibly imagine. But even more intriguing is the fact that the diamonds referenced in Revelation 21, which was written by John around 2,000 years ago, weren't initially stated there. We must go back 1,300 years before Christ to the time of Moses in order to discover how this remarkable collection first appeared. God gave Moses instructions to write down the names of 12 gemstones in Exodus 28:17-21. Then mount 4 rows of precious stones on it. The first row shall be carnelian, chrysolite, and beryl. 18, the second row shall be turquoise, lapis lazuli, and emerald. 19, the third row shall be jacinth, agate, and amethyst. 20, the fourth row shall be topaz, onyx, and jasper. Mount them in gold filigree settings. There are to be 12 stones, one for each of the names of the sons of Israel, each engraved like a seal with the name of one of the 12 tribes. While serving in the holy place of the tabernacle, the high priest was to wear these stones on his breastplate. Remarkably, the 12 gemstones mentioned in Exodus are identical to those mentioned in Revelation. That's right. This connection has existed for thousands of years. According to the book of Exodus, which was written around 3,300 years ago, these 12 stones represented the 12 tribes of Israel. In the same way, the 12 apostles of the Lamb are symbolized by the 12 gemstone foundations of the New Jerusalem. These precious stones would have reflected God's light with unparalleled brilliance inside the tabernacle of Moses, where everything was pitch black save for the glow from the lampstand, or menorah. This heavenly symmetry over thousands of years is nothing short of extraordinary. Think of the high priest's breastplate's diamonds reflecting the menorah's flickering light. The tabernacle's dark interior must have been illuminated by dazzling colors. However, even that stunning picture is only a small peek of what is next. The whole foundation of the kingdom in the New Jerusalem will be made of jewels, each of which will reflect the dazzling splendor of God's light. This is the interesting part. Moses could not have possibly understood the distinction between isotropic and anisotropic diamonds 3,000 years ago. Moses wasn't looking into microscopes in a billion-dollar lab or shining laser beams through jewels. He didn't have to. Moses was simply recording the exact instructions that God had given him. From the beginning of time, God and God alone knew what modern science has only recently discovered. This heavenly knowledge is demonstrated by the 12 gemstones mentioned in the scriptures, which are stones that exhibit stunning beauty when exposed to pure light. They show that more than one person wrote the Bible. It was written by the universe's creator. God's fingerprints can be seen throughout the universe and in the Bible, as proved by the complex relationship between scientific findings and ancient texts. Imagine being in a city of infinite beauty and light, surrounded by His people. Every heart will radiate love, joy, peace, compassion, patience, and all the qualities of the Spirit. It is more than just a promise. It is a glimpse of a more beautiful future than we can imagine.